And welcome back to the Sahara Desert where we are baking like pizzas.
Oh, gosh. I heard they'd have a lot of geothermal kind of saunas here in Iceland. I thought they would be naturally created and not a studio. But we're here for a match between Exodus and Transmission Lost, where neither side had banned Dominic's, and both sides have brought Dominic's Tinker setups.
I think I smell tinkers on both sides. On Exodus sides, we have that Proteus, which looks to be fitting the repping subsystem. And on transmission Lost side, of course, we have triple Dominic's, Navy Raven, Vulture, and a Basilisk, which is a sure sign of a Tinker.
Now, the interesting thing about this, given that Tinker setups can often just go down to killing one or two ships and survive the rest of the match, Transmission Lost came in 1 point short, so Exodus is already up to a 1-0 lead, and if nothing dies on either side, that means Exodus takes this match.
Absolutely, and we do not get to see a Tinker match go into reverse tie-dye, which would be unfortunate indeed. And the match is underway with the Basilisk on transmission side being hammered by the Exodus Dominixes.
Yeah, he's just taking giant chunks of his shields being pulled back. We have Vitone's Dominix taking some damage, but Exodus is in an armor dummy setup, whereas Transmission Lost is the shield dummy setup, so that probably won't stress. And the Basilisk has been tanking fairly well.
Absolutely, but interestingly enough, every single ship on Transmission Lost side who actually can feed cap has ECM on them. And if any of those or two of those Dominixes gets jammed at the same time, that Basilisk will not have enough capacitor to run its XL ASP once it runs out of charges, which is going to happen in about 20 seconds time.
And the other thing to note, it looks like Transmission Lost here has launched Guard 2s, whereas we're seeing Curator 2s on the field from Exodus. You want to talk a little about maybe why that's going down?
Absolutely. Of course, being a shield-based team on the Transmission Lost side, they are more vulnerable to EM damage, which is why Exodus has correctly picked up on this meta and has deployed EM sentry drones.
Exactly, and then the Guard 2s being the higher DPS of the choices. The Basilisk still holding on. We'll see how long that lasts.
Look at all those rep drones on Exodus side as well. So not only do they have a strong Proteus, they have a massive amount of rep drones, probably from those Vexers, perhaps from those Ishkers going on to the Dominix as well.
They do look like Vexer mixes. I see, the 2 heavy, 2 medium, and some lights, so yep.
Yep, absolutely, and that is going to be enormous amount more repping power on that.
Now, there are drones dying. There are rep drones dying. They're disappearing off the overview, so it does look like Transmission Lost is doing the right thing and trying to pick off those rep drones to lessen a little bit of the tank. By the way, shame on whichever the Exodus pilots is using Tech 1 heavy armor drones. Train your skills.
Wow. Oh, wow. And just as we say that, the Dominix on the Exodus side is taking significant damage and is starting to go down, but Transmission Lost changes primary over to the Proteus to test how much tank that has. Now with those rep drones gone off the field, the Proteus doesn't appear to be in any significant trouble whatsoever.
Yeah,
the Basilisk on the other side of the Transmission Lost team is getting hit very hard and it's reaching into armor. It's in armor. If that Basilisk goes down, the match is lost.
Truly, I mean, that's all it takes. I see Valk 2's out now from the Vexer, so perhaps the ones who are losing rep drones said, we're just going to dump our damage drones. Some Ogre 2's out as well. So they have, in fact, the Vexers and Ishkars, maybe the Ishtar, have all launched damage drones, and that may account for that increase in damage we saw in the Basilisk. Caught him off guard a little bit. We see jamming going down across all 4 of the battleship hulls on Transmission Lost, probably filling some spare mids, as PL likes to do with various jammers. In this case, I'm guessing Galente Racial, since they were expecting to see Dominix.
That's probably true. What I suspect we saw there is 1 or 2 of these Dominixes forgot to engage their energy transfers on this Basilisk, and the Basilisk ran out of cap for a brief moment there. He screamed and begged and cried for capacitor, got it just in time to start tanking.
I think there was a piloting error by C. Klinchkachak, who is way off the ball. He's crawling back now, but he was at least 15 kilometers off when I first noticed that. I'm not sure how he got out of range, but he, as a result, was not able to be part of that cap chain, and his Basilisk pilot is just heroically struggling to keep up now that the cap chain is broken. So broken by his own team, but still Exodus is not able to power through this, and I suspect once he gets back into position, that will make it even more impossible. So we may still, well, nope, there's going to be a 1 point difference, so you're right. This match could be a 10-minute, no-death 1 point win for Exodus, which would really be, frankly, tragic both for them and the viewers. But we see reps now on Ray's, no problem there. A little more repping on Ray's. He's taking a bit of damage in his Vexor. None of the other ships on the Exodus team right now are currently taking damage. And Exodus is still working on that Basilisk, hoping maybe to find a chink in the armor. Maybe they're pressuring some overheat somewhere, and they're going to force someone to burn something out. And so just they know they're not going to break the Vulture. They know they're not going to break any of the other ships. At what point does Exodus think, let's pull all our jammers, dump them all on the Basilisk, and try to plow through a Dominix?
Exactly. I was going to suggest that as well. Shortly, I don't really know why they haven't tried it yet, but they should. They should realize by now that they're just not going to power through that Basilisk. The Dominix has now moved back into range. He is able to grab transfer this Basilisk. He is going to continue tanking this, and they should just take off all those jammers off the Dominixes, put them on the Basilisk, and see if they can break a dummy instead.
Yeah, I really think that's their best bet right now. I mean, at this point, like I said, they have the match in hand. Right now, they are winning. They go to 10 minutes and they win this match. But all it takes is something, one of their pilots making a mistake and Ishkar getting caught. Perhaps Mr. Falcon, who has announced that he is pregnant with Brent's child and is keeping it, will be caught. Who knows? At any rate, it's still 1 point is not a lead to kick back and go AFK on. Right now, they really need to try to find a way through. They're still stubbornly pounding on that Basilisk, but it's just going nowhere. And meanwhile, now Vitone's Dominix is back into armor, taking a little bit of damage. I don't think it's going to stress Zabos Proteus to rep it, but we shall see.
Yes, this Basilisk is either bait tanking or just not managing his ASB well enough, because he is hanging at the half shield mark, which means that he does not have a whole lot of buffer there at all, and he is dipping into the red. He will start bleeding a little bit of armor there shortly. If Exodus is smart here, they're going to dump all of their rep drones and put all damage drones on this Basilisk, because actually they might just have a chance. If they get a lucky jam or two off on those transmission loss Dominixes, they are able to probably break the cap chain and do enough damage. Right now, they're nuding the Basilisk to put that little bit extra pressure.
Oh, and it's going to work.
That is now working. The little bit of cap pressure was enough. The Basilisk goes down on transmission loss, and now it is just simply a cleanup job for the Exodus.
I was going to point out the interesting fact that transmission lost had half Guard 2s and half Federation Navy guards, but it doesn't seem like it's going to make a difference now, because essentially the match is over. Exodus will mop up. That Dominix will die fairly quickly now. They will be fairly well passively tanked, but with no reps to come in to save him, it's not going to matter. And congratulations. I think Exodus has walked away with this one in what was a very tense match, but I don't think they were ever really in danger of losing it.
Absolutely. I think sometimes these Thinker versus Thinkers can seem a little bit boring, which they probably are. But if you actually start focusing down on what happens at the micro level, what kind of drones are being fielded, and where the E-War is going, where is that single neutralizer effect that Exodus has, who is being neutered, and what effect that will have, give it enough time, and usually these Thinker versus Thinker setups do prove to be quite interesting and kind of edge on the seat kind of stuff.
It's absolutely all about positioning and things. That Dominix getting out of position was really, really a big mistake on his part. He's lucky he got back in there in time to save his Basilisk, but you saw during the time that he was out of position, his Basilisk was just getting pounded. So here we have C. Klinchak in his Dominix and structure about to go down. Exodus really not in any danger of losing a ship. These guys are experienced tournament pilots. They've flown quite a bit in the SCL. Some of them are former Rokapel guys and have flown with us before. And they know what they're doing. I had expected them coming into this match to perform well, and it seems that they are going to have this one very handily.
And with 2 minutes left on the match, usually we would call these kinds of matches on the favor of the shield tanking Dominixes, who are able to put a little bit of extra damage mods into their low slots, since they don't have to worry about tanking mods. But this time Exodus proved us wrong, and with an armor-based Tinker with the Proteus providing those reps, they were able to do enough damage to break that cap cycle and walk over to victory.
Well, the other thing that may have come into play there too is transmission lost brought a 6-ship setup. Exodus brought quite a few more, and Exodus brought the racial jammers. And there's only 6 ships to jam. You've got Galente jammers. You can pretty much jam out all 3 of the dummies. You can probably break up that cap chain. They may not have landed jams the whole time, but 1 or 2 jams here or there to break up the cap chain, put pressure on that Basilisk with their own newts on there, and it was a matter of time before it collapsed, I guess. And here we go, second Dominix down, Varag is down. They're still stubbornly kind of pounding on Vitone's Dominix, but they're not going to really get anything substantial to stick to him, so.
That's right. What these Ishkers and other support frigates in a Tinker setup provide is that crucial bit of extra remote sensor boosters, remote ECCM. With that Basilisk having none of the above from any frigates, perhaps Exodus might have been a little bit better off attempting to jam that Basilisk instead and going for a Dominix, because actually these Dominixes are falling quite fast after being primaried.
Yep, he is in Structure or in Starwind. Is down. Will they have time to blow up the Navy Raven?
Probably not. With 26 seconds left on the match, Exodus is going to walk away with a 65-point lead and continue on in the winner's bracket, while Transmission Lost is going to go down to the loser's bracket into very tough company with Verge of Collapse and Waffles and so on and so forth.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of teams down there. A lot of very good teams in the loser's bracket now. We're seeing the chaff kind of get filtered out, and the really strong guys are going to fight it out for that final spot. Looks like time is up. Exodus has decisively won this one, Tinker v. Tinker. And we'll go back to the studio with CCP Soundwave.